Hi, everyone. Welcome to our community show on Microsoft Fabric integration with Reltio Data Cloud. Um, we are just a couple of housekeeping items to kick this off as usual, but please take a look at our safe harbor slide. And then this session is recorded. It will be posted to community after the session. We will send an email out as follow-up to let you know that it is up. When you have questions, please use the raise your hand feature or comment in the comment section. We will open the feed to questions at the end. And again, please stay on mute until you have a question or until we call on you to answer your questions. And that's it. And I'll pass this off to Ankur.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Hi, everyone. A very good morning, afternoon, and evening based on the part of the globe you are joining in from. So imagine a world where your most ambitious analytics and AI workloads are just within your reach, which are powered by the most trusted data. So today, what we are going to do is we are going to embark on a journey together, a journey where we are going to showcase that how Reltio Data Cloud, combined with the power of Microsoft Fabric, is going to enable you to achieve your any kind of AI or the analytics workload going forward. So I am Ankur Gupta, a principal product manager at Reltio, and along with me, I have Asif from Microsoft. We both are going to take you through a couple of topics. So what we are going to do is we are going to start with first talking about the challenges which we are encountering, which all of us are encountering in managing data. Then this will be followed with how Reltio Data Cloud enables you to overcome those challenges. And then it will be followed with Microsoft Fabric, which is a true game changer in the world of data. And then we'll talk about the magic for which we are here today, where we are going to talk about a seamless integration between Reltio Data Cloud and Microsoft Fabric, a partnership which is built for truly your success. And then at the end, we'll close with a demo which showcases this integration between the two powerhouses. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Okay, let's talk about a topic which is most talked about on our planet at present, the AI. So AI, as we all know, needs no introduction, and there is no need for any kind of an explanation of what kind of importance it is placed today in any kind of an industry which we can pick. You talk about any industry like financial services, how it enables the businesses to do the right set of marketing, or to take decision related to lending or any kind of or to detect any kind of frauds like money laundering and other aspects. Similarly, in a world of B2B, AI plays a key role in helping the businesses finding out, hey, or predicting the churns in their businesses or optimizing their supply chains. Similarly, in the world of consumer, it helps the businesses to target the right audience, provide them with a personalized experience, and maybe curate the offers which are really, really specific to that particular consumer. Similarly, if you look at other industries like insurance, where it really helps them to detect the frauds, or maybe look at the most, a better risk-based pricing and so on. Similarly, if you talk about the other industries like life sciences and healthcare, it can help the businesses to detect the early diseases or a breakthrough in terms of finding the right medicines and the medication and so on. And this is super evident if you look at some of the surveys which has been done today, that there are 80% of the CEO, 88% of the CEOs who are placing a big, big bet on any kind of an AI initiatives in their businesses. Though I wonder that what other 12% are doing and what they are planning to do. But this is super evident that, hey, AI is everywhere. It is no more a futuristic concept. It is today. It is the superpower today. And it cannot be ignored. Let's move forward, please. Now, I mean, as I spoke of, we know the importance of AI, but there is a fundamental challenge behind it, a formidable challenge which really brings up a trust gap. Now, what is that? So when we look at some of the surveys out there, what we get to know is that around 77% of the decision makers are not so confident on the data they have, which can power their AI or any kind of analytics workloads. Now, why is that so? So there are major reasons behind it. Some of the reasons are like, the quality of the data, which we will talk more in the subsequent slides, the governance, the lack of governance, which leads to compliance risk, and then some of the skills which are missing in order to have that efficient pipeline, which can enable them to make the best use of the data which they have at their disposal, and use it for any kind of their AI or analytics workloads. So let's move forward with this. Next slide, please. Now, talking about the data quality, what are those major reasons which leads to that poor data quality which I just spoke of? The first is highly siloed and the fragmented data. So if you look at some of the average applications which the businesses use today, or the number of applications, they range from somewhere around 450 to 500 plus applications. Now imagine you are catering to the similar scenario, but the data is spread across so many applications that it's difficult to get a simple, single, unified view of any kind of, let's say, a customer or a product or a supplier or organization. And that leads to such fragmented data that it's very difficult to generate the right insights out of them. Similarly, what happens is this data is so inconsistent, so much incomplete and redundant that it really exaggerates the problem further. And then the delay in getting the right information at the right time, it further complicates the problem where the data is not able to solve the problem which it was meant to solve. Like, for example, generating the right insights and taking the right decisions at the right time. Next slide, please. Now, we talk about many of these challenges. So all these challenges which I just spoke of, because of the untrusted data we have or the fragmented data we have, it not only just slows us down as a business to do the right decision or to take the right decision and take the right action, but it also injects the kind of risk and widens the trust gaps further, which can be evaluated into the aspects like, if I'm using this data, the poor quality data I have at my disposal to train my models, it results in my models being super ineffective because they are trained at the quality of data where they are not able to generate the right insights or give us the right answers for which we wanted to achieve the kind of results we wanted to achieve from those models, which results in these models being a bit biased or inefficient. And then because again, we are looking for a certain result, we end up training this model time and again, and it leads to further extra cost for us to incur in order to achieve the desired results. Similarly, because of the insufficient attributes or the right quality of data, what happens is these models which are trained on this data, they are not able to identify the complex pattern, and they often miss out some of the edge cases, which again increases the problem intensity which we are facing because of this poor quality of data. In addition, we see some of the challenges like poor data governance, which leads to compliance risk. And again, it becomes a nightmare to really figure out, hey, what is the data lineage and what is the source of my data if I do not have the right quality of data with me. Last but not the least, we know that we are into the world where most of our operations are real time, and we need the response very instantaneously. Like, for example, in fraud detection, we cannot wait for transaction to go through and then get to know that it was fraudulent after 2 days. We need that confirmation instantaneously. And again, because of this, the challenges which we just spoke of, it becomes extremely difficult to really find that or to get that correct response at an instantaneous time. Yeah, let's move on please to the next slide. So how do we solve this problem? And that is where the Reltio Data Cloud and the difference which Reltio brings in comes into the effect. What the mission of us or the Reltio Data Cloud is that we want to ensure that we provide you with a unified, interoperable, and the trusted data, which can fuel any of your AI and the analytics workload. So what we ensure is that we, no matter how many sources you have where your data is fragmented and siloed, that we unify the data together, we clean it, and we enrich it with the right information, so that what you can achieve is you can achieve a continuously curated and a high quality data, the data which you can use for any kind of your model training, which has a inbuilt governance and can help you meet any kind of a compliance risk, and also supports your workloads where you need instantaneous response and the performance of let's say milliseconds, okay, where you are looking for a response that, hey, I want to achieve this instantaneously, so if I'm calling an API, it should be able to give me a response within milliseconds. That's what we aim for in the Reltio Data Cloud. Now let's look at some of the building blocks of Reltio Data Cloud before I pass it on to Asif to talk about Microsoft Fabric. So a Reltio Data Cloud is inherently a AI-ready cloud, or a software as a service solution, which is built on hyperclouds. I mean, you can host it on Azure, AWS, or Google Cloud. We are certified secure and meet some of these compliances like HIPAA and GDPR. We have a global footprint and the data sovereignty. And like I spoke of in terms of performance, our API performance is in the range of milliseconds. And this inherently is built over, like, including at every touch point, we have AI and ML ready operations. Now, built on this strong cloud foundation, what we have is some of the core components of Reltio Data Cloud, which starts from match and merge, which are like the components which help you unify your data from multiple sources and provide you with the golden records. Other core components like relationship management, reference data management, and then some of the core capabilities like entity resolution, where you get to see the 360-degree view of your data, be it customer, be it organization, product, suppliers, and so on. And then some of the core components of the data management like data quality, governance, and integration. At the top, what we are looking at is the velocity packs. So what these velocity packs are, these are pre-built accelerators specific for a certain industry, which helps you go to achieve your desired goal with the master data management quickly and a faster time to value. So this is what Reltio Data Cloud offers and how it brings together and overcomes all the challenges which we spoke about at the beginning. With that, let me pass it on to Asif to talk about Microsoft Fabric.
Excellent. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, depending upon which part of the world you guys are joining from. And again, talking about the need for data and the cleanliness of the data, right? Let's just talk about Microsoft Fabric. Microsoft Fabric is Microsoft fully SaaS platform for data and analytics needs, right? Which means that whether you want to do data processing, analytics, databases, real-time intelligence, or even pure reporting, right? It's a single platform which acts as a more or less a single product, which sits on one lake, which means all the data that you get and process can get stored on the one lake, as well as get processed by any of the engines without ever having to create a copy. And that's why the term one lake, right? One lake means one copy of the data, whether it is in your tenant or whether you're sharing it cross tenants. And that's something that Ankur and team will demonstrate in this webinar later. Again, the key thing which all customers care about, and again, the CIO, CEO care about, is using that clean, guaranteed, right, as well as referenceable data in your AI platforms, whether that's Copilot or whether it's anything that you're building for your own business use cases. But at the same time, having secure governance in place, which means that, hey, only the folks that have access to that data can get access to it, and having granular access to that data, right? It's not just sufficient to have an all or nothing access, but also have the ability to have row level security, column level security, and any other governance that you want to put, including lineage, as well as additional data governance. And that's what Microsoft Fabric brings to that data ecosystem, right? Which has traditionally been a very PaaS-oriented approach, wherein you had to cobble together different solutions. This is a single product which works seamlessly together, and you have the ability to get a full suite of products which simply work on one lake, and importantly, they work on open data formats such as Delta Parquet as well as Iceberg, right? Again, we had FabCon not more than a few months ago, right, as far as US is concerned. And again, a lot of excitement in the community, a lot of attendance. I'm hoping that some of you got the opportunity to attend and look at what we had to offer. Okay. Moving on to the next slide. Again, I touched upon this a bit, right? And what's the true power of Microsoft Fabric? First and foremost, it's a unified analytics platform. And again, you'll hear our executives say that, right? That it's not just an analytics platform, but it is what we call as a trans analytics platform. As of December last year, we announced the availability of SQL DB on the Fabric platform, which means unlike the traditional Spark and the data warehousing, which we already had for an extended period on the Fabric platform, we brought over the power of the SQL database onto the platform. And not just that, we're going to make Cosmos DB as well as other databases available, which means that this is going to be a truly trans analytics platform. Means with a single copy of the data on one lake, right, you have the ability to do transactional workloads on it as well as analytics workloads on it. The beauty of it is seamless integration. Again, the fact that, hey, not only do we have multiple experiences on the platform, which means that whether you're using data warehousing, data engineering, SQL DB, right, Power BI, or even partner workloads, all of those can seamlessly read across the same governance model of the same security model and leverage the same copy of the data without ever copying it. The beauty of it, it's a purely SaaS platform, truly scalable in the backend. You no longer have to worry about, hey, how many nodes do I have to configure, right? Am I running at capacity? Do I have to scale this out? All of that is seamlessly taken care of you in the backend. I mentioned FabCon US a little while earlier. There's a massive global community. We had over nearly 7,000 attendees, right, after the first 15 months of announcement, which is just humongous to see just the following that we have and the community that we've built in such a short period of time. The beauty of Fabric is it's an extensible platform, so partners can monetize on the platform. And again, you'll see some of the opportunities that Reltio has leveraged to essentially add additional value to their customers to leverage the power of Fabric for data sharing, etc. Right? And that's essentially what Microsoft Fabric is. It's a single suite of product which provides you all of these capabilities, right? A CIO's and CEO's dream world, which essentially paves the path to the future for AI. Again, I mentioned that Fabric is a fully extensible platform. Partners have the ability to not just bring their workloads, which you'll see to the right of this slide, but you also have the ability to develop platforms and apps on Fabric itself and use that as a foundational OS for the services that you provide. But you also have the ability to interop with the Fabric OneLake, which means that you have the ability to seamlessly read, write data, as well as leverage the power and capabilities of data sharing, data governance, data lineage, right, using OneLake. And that's essentially what we will demonstrate in today's presentation. And Reltio has gone above and beyond and build those capabilities. Again, there are multiple ways of doing it today. As far as, let's say, V1 or the first step is essentially data sharing. The Reltio team is making significant investments in some of the other capabilities, which will allow you to truly leverage the power of what Fabric has to provide within your ecosystem. Let's just talk about the data sharing. Again, the key thing over here is one copy of the data. Again, the ISV tenant that you see on the left-hand side is essentially Reltio tenants, and the right-hand side is essentially the customer tenant, which would be your tenant, right? If you just click through the slide, again, you have the ability to just create a data share, just in the simple manner that you are used to creating a OneDrive share. You can simply, through a click, go ahead and create a share and share it with another tenant. The beauty of this entire implementation that Reltio has done for you, it will automatically take care of these capabilities for you, and all of those tables will be seamlessly available in your environment. Again, there are governance capabilities and security and access control in terms of who can do what, and all of this makes that available to the consumer tenant without actually physically copying the data, without actually having to deal with egress costs, etc., for data that you're never actually going to use, right? So it's just a simple share through API, which makes it available in your tenant, and the data almost appears locally within your environment. Moving on. Back to Ankur.
Thank you so much, Asif. for the information on Fabric. Okay, back to the magic which I spoke about at the beginning. The magic about the seamless integration between the Reltio Data Cloud and Microsoft Fabric. So what we are looking at here, we did speak about it at the beginning, that how Reltio helps you unify the data from your multiple sources, clean it, enrich it, and do all the operation which makes the data completely trustworthy and useful for any kind of EI or analytics workloads. Now, once we have that data ready, what we do now is, like Asif was touching upon, we make this data available to you in your Microsoft Fabric application. And there is absolutely no movement of data. This data is shared using the external data share technology of Microsoft Fabric, and everything is taken care of behind the scenes. Like I mentioned, no movement at all. So you do get to access each and every data which you have in Reltio, like for example, right from your data around entities to relationships to interactions to matches, merges, activity data, or the workflows data. All the 7 major components are available to you within your Microsoft Fabric application. And like I mentioned, any kind of workloads which are available to you in Fabric, you can build on top of the data which you can access from Reltio. Okay, moving on. So what are the major components of the integration which we have with Fabric? First is we have simplified the data sharing. So if any one of you is already using the existing data pipeline, which we have for the other data warehouses, you would agree that yes, it does involve a certain set of steps to be followed in order for you to set it up end to end. However, as you're looking at the screen right now, on the right hand side, only thing which you would just need to provide in your console application is the tenant details in terms of only the region and the availability zone, and the email ID of the person who should be receiving that email, which will talk about the data share, that hey, Reltio has shared this data share with you, which you can access in Fabric. So imagine with just these 2 fields, you can enable the entire data share between Reltio and Microsoft Fabric. All the complexity, anything and everything is being taken care of behind the scenes. You don't need to worry about anything. You don't have to go through a multitude of steps to do the entire setup. It's simple as this one-click setup which we have provided to you. Next slide, please. Similarly, on the Fabric side, once you receive, once you do the setup in Reltio console application, what you will receive is you will receive an email that a data share has been generated for you. Once you click on that get started in your email, you can log into your Fabric application. And as you're looking at the screenshot, you get a pop-up where with a single click of acceptance, you get to see all the data which you have shared from Reltio in your Fabric account. So again, both the generation of the share and the acceptance of the share at Fabric end is a single one-click operation in both Reltio and Fabric. Last but not the least, like Asi was touching upon, how we have done the entire architectural setup is we have the security and governance has been taken care of inherently. So like I was touching upon earlier, how we enable this entire data share is through the external data share capabilities provided by Microsoft Fabric. So we have the data within Reltio. Your data stays within your Reltio boundaries. And between the Fabric workspace owned by Reltio and your own Fabric workspace, this data share is enabled. And once this data is available to you in your lakehouse, you can run any kind of workloads which are available to you in your Fabric workspace. And today, this entire integration is in early access. However, GA will be coming soon, and we will share the dates with you. Moving on, please. Okay, let's look at a quick demo. Enough of talking. Let's see this in action, that how the data is available to you. The data which you see in Reltio is available to you in Microsoft Fabric.
So I'm quickly going to review what the Reltio 360-degree view of, in this case, a customer looks like and what will be delivered into that customer lakehouse. So in this example, we have a customer profile for Sarah Brenna. We have quite a bit of attribution that has been stitched together through our data unification process that spans demographic information, privacy and consent and opt-ins, key identifiers that we understand, as well as the rich relationships that we know about Sarah. So which household is she a part of? which organizations is she employed by or affiliated with, and which products has she purchased from us across our brands. In addition to this rich attribution and relationship data, we are also bringing in relevant transactional data and stitching that directly to the unified profiles to help build our contextual understanding of Sarah and her engagement with our brands. So this includes transactions like when she browsed offers, purchases she made, and services requests. All of this data from this unified profile is what's going to be shared through that zero copy integration into the customer's lakehouse in real time. And the way that that looks, if I pivot over to our lakehouse here, is that in the customer-owned lakehouse, all this data from Reltio spanning entities, relationships, interactions, and additional metadata around matching and merging activity is all being shared through that zero copy integration, the data pipeline service, and making it available in real time. So as new curations and new updates are occurring within the Reltio tenant, that's automatically streaming through and being shared into this lakehouse. Now, this lakehouse is what's being used to power various workloads within our Fabric workspace. One example being a BI report that I have here that's taking a look at the summary of interactions across different types. You can have an overview, drill into details of its specific types of interactions. And in this particular example, we're looking at an order breakdown, telling me how many total orders we've processed, some aggregate spend information and order value from across our customers, as well as some roll-ups where we're understanding who our top customers are and how much they've spent with us over their lifetime with the brand. You'll also see other dimensions as well that are tying in that order transactions with other domains of data to help us understand and have some business intelligence around our top products. So in this particular dashboard, I'm seeing the top 10 products by the spend dimension across those interactions. So by blending not only customer data, but also the rich network of relationships to products and expanding the data that you're managing within the Reltio Data Cloud to include transactions as well, you get a very holistic, trusted data source from Reltio that's shared in a zero copy format directly into your Fabric workspace to power business intelligence in a Power BI dashboard like you're seeing here, or any other workloads that are available to you, such as the co-pilots and data agents that you may be building in the future as you adopt AI and ML techniques.
Cool. So before we move off the demo, I just want to see
I'm
if
quickly going to review what the Reltio 300.
Just want to see if there are any questions from anybody in terms of what they've seen so far. Okay. Cool. Move on.
Okay, let me cover around what's included in GA and what all you can expect as a features coming out. So first of all, I spoke about, there would be a simplified and a quick setup. Like both at the Reltio's end and both at the Fabric's end, one-click setup to generate the share, one-click setup to accept the share. The data would be a near real-time data access. So you will have any kind of events which are happening in Reltio, any updates which are happening in entities or any kind of data objects would be reflected in your Microsoft Fabric account in a near real time. One important aspect which we are bringing in addition to the data share capability, is the schema simplification. So today, as you all are aware, with the existing data pipelines, we export the data, we do not share, we export the data into the JSON format. However, with the data sharing with Fabric, what we are doing is we are going a step ahead, and we are not only going to share the data into the JSON format, but also we are going to simplify it for you in terms of tabular format, but only for the OV values. So if you have a scenario where you want to share the golden records or the OV only values with Microsoft Fabric, you can make use of schema simplification in order to achieve that. The fourth is the data sharing with Microsoft Fabric will be available as an add-on. As a part of the base package, you will be able to create 2 data shares in all of your tenants, right from dev, test, and product. When it comes to pricing, we request you to please get in touch with your account manager to get further details on it. Okay, let's move on to the next slide, please. So what a curious question could be, what do you need at your end in the Fabric application in order to do the entire setup of the Fabric integration? So so first is of course an access to your Microsoft Fabric application, which is a no-brainer. But there, anyone who is doing or accepting the data share generated from Reltio, you would need to have an access rights to create a workspace and a lakehouse. And you need to enable a setting which says which will be in your tenant settings in your Microsoft Fabric account, which goes by the name of users can accept external data shares. So if you enable the setting, then only you will be able to accept the share generated through Reltio. Otherwise, you will not have the access to do so. So these are the basic prerequisites which you would need in the Fabric account of yours in order to have the entire setup of the data share between Reltio and Microsoft Fabric. Moving on. Some of the frequently asked questions like when will it be generally available? Soon. You can expect it not like I'm not giving a timeline for let's say next year, but just a month or so. You can expect it to be generally available. But today, as I mentioned earlier, it is in early access. So if any one of you is interested, please get in touch with us. We are more than happy to onboard you on the early access and get your feedback too. Second, pricing. As I mentioned earlier, again, please get in touch with your account managers and they would be happy to share all the details related to the pricing with you. What all data tables are shared or what all data would be accessible to you from Reltio to Fabric. Entities, match, merge, relation, interaction, activities, and workflow. So basically, you name the data in Reltio and you have that accessible in your Fabric account. The format of the shared data. So we are going to support both the formats. In fact, yeah, both the formats. It will be available in the JSON format as well as the simplified schema, like I explained before. Latency of the updates. You can expect the data to be available in your Fabric account in a near real time. So as soon as there are some updates happening in your Reltio account in a near real time, you can expect the same to be reflected in your Fabric account as well. Is there a limit to the number of data shares that can be created in Reltio? Answer is no. But as a part of package, base package, like I mentioned before, you will have 2 data shares available to you in every tenant. Beyond that, you can get to know about the details about the pricing from the account managers. And will it affect your system's performance in any way? No. What we would suggest is that yes, only at the time of, let's say, if you are doing a major data load, then behind the scenes, there would be some DPS services which will be getting executed in order to process that data and make it available to Fabric. I mean, make it ready to be available in Fabric. However, for any kind of an incremental updates, there should not be any kind of an effect. Will I be able to set it up by myself? Answer is absolutely yes. Like I showcased earlier, all you just need is in the Reltio console application, basic information from about your tenant, the Fabric tenant, like in which region and the availability zone is it there. And second, who would be the person who would accept the data share in your Fabric account? That's it. And with that, all the complexity and all the heavy lifting will be taken care by Reltio and Microsoft Fabric. You don't have to worry about any kind of setup at all. Okay, with that, any questions from anyone of what you saw today? Or any kind of a feedback which you'd like to share with us?
Question on the chat, Ankur.
Yes, so I see the reference data that would also be included, that would be there. Is there a way to control which data to share? For example, is it possible to share only few set of entities? Today, no. What you can do is you can actually share the entire, you will have all the data objects, like I mentioned, all those 7 objects. But fair feedback, we can definitely look into it for future, where we can provide the capabilities of, if you want to just share a specific data objects. And to elaborate more on your question, is your question specific to just sharing a specific data sets? Or you want to filter down on entities, like for example, sharing contacts which are in US in a certain state? Krishnan, could you please elaborate your question if that's okay with you? Okay.
Ankur, this is Vijay from Greenbrier. I have a question. So our security team was asking some questions around, what kind of controls you have. Obviously, they're very particular about external data shares, what we're bringing into the tenant. We would like to understand what are the things on your end to make it secure, and what are the controls or protocols that you're following?
Asif, would you like to take it for the external data share?
Yeah, so let's talk about what specific items that you're looking for, right? So obviously there are 2 or 3 things that come up when we're talking about external data share access, right? First and foremost is, hey, who has access to that data? That's number one. Number two that comes up predominantly is, hey, do I have the ability to do this over private links, right? That is the second thing that will come up. And then the third thing is, again, questions that we see over here is that, hey, even among the stuff that is shared, right? Okay, even if I get it shared across the tenant, then hey, I'd like some additional row level, column level security, etc., that is available, right? So,
Right.
so essentially, private link support, right, is there in various forms as far as Fabric is concerned. You'll see more announcements coming around June, July timeframe, right? Definitely before FabCon Europe. That's number one, right? So that should alleviate some of some of the concerns over there. That's number one. Number two, RLS CLS is obviously there on your side, right? So in addition, once you have the tables visible on your end, if you want to control who has access to what specific data at a row column level, you have the ability to manage those permissions at a granular level, right? So that would be the second thing that you have the ability to do. Does that help?
Yeah, so basically for the private endpoints, as of now, it's not available, but we're looking for Fabric features to get released in the coming months.
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, private endpoints, right? Private links, etc., is available at various levels, right? For various services, right? A more comprehensive support is coming later on this year.
Okay. And Ankur, the other related question is, you mentioned you will be giving the tabular data. So is it available in the, do we have to wait until it's GA, or is it available right now so that for us to take a look?
Yeah, it will be a part of GA. In early access, the data which is available to you is only in the JSON format. However, as soon as we go GA, it will be a part of it.
Okay, so for customers like us who are in the beginning stage, we might as well wait for GA because we don't have to do all that parsing work that typically JSONs are complex on your end.
Yeah, so that's the reason that we have had a major focus on schema simplification. It makes a major component of the entire integration with the Fabric, because that's the feedback which we have been hearing from the customers like you, where there was a suggestion that JSON, parsing JSON and all is complex. So how can we have that simplified structure? So
Okay,
you will have it now.
great. Do you intend to provide any kind of data model of the tabular tables? Because obviously, instead of we figuring out if it comes from you, it'll be more authentic.
Could you please elaborate more on it?
So
What
the
exactly
tabular
you're looking
data,
for?
right? It could the tabular schema could be. Is there a way? How do we decode that? I think whenever you have it available, there could be 5 tables or 10 tables depending on the entities.
Yeah, so depending upon, see, it's completely dynamic. So depending upon whatever entities you have configured in the system or whatever relationships you have configured in the system,
Okay.
accordingly, we will create as many tables. And wherever, if you are like sharing only the OB values like I specified, we will ensure that all the simple attributes are taken care as form of the respective columns, including the nested attributes too, but nested attributes will have a 2-level hierarchy in them. So that's the only thing which would be there. But like I mentioned, there would be separate columns for each and every entity and relationships you have specified in the system or configured in the system.
Okay, thanks. Looking forward for that.
Sure.
Any other questions?
Question from anyone?
Yes, one question on tabular format. For example, if we add any simple attribute or nested attribute, so will automatically Reltio picks those attributes and create a column in the table?
Yes. So schema evolution we are definitely looking at, and that would be taken care of now. Any other question from anyone? Okay, back to you, Delphine and Sarah then.
Great, thank you guys. So we just wanted to also post in here and remind people that we have the Vienna European Microsoft Fabric Community Conference coming up in September of this year. We've added the QR code for anyone if they want to register or take a look at that event further. And then I think that is everything, but please, thank you all so much for joining. Again, this is being recorded and we will have it posted up on community at the latest by tomorrow, and we will send an email with the link to the recording as well. So hopefully you will take another look at it again and forward it to anyone, any of your colleagues.
Awesome. Just parting thoughts, right? As far as Reltio is concerned, I think that they've made significant investments in making these capabilities available, right? Leveraging the Fabric ecosystem. I think there's a compelling value prop there for our customers. So again, looking forward to you guys trying it out. I know obviously this question was going to come up as far as security, governance, etc., but then that's front and center as far as we're concerned on the Microsoft side. You will hear announcements on those coming soon. Okay, so thank you for working with us and providing us the consistent feedback.
Amazing. And thank you so much, Asif and Encore. And we will see you at our next community show.
Awesome.
Pleasure. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day. Bye-bye.